Since the demon lord Terexen invaded Avalon 3 years ago, nations have fallen, and now the demons hold half the continent. But all is not lost, as Rudy Ragnarsson, a hero with divine blessing, has helped stave off further invasions. Red was once a member of the Heroes Party, a powerful group destined to save the world from the evil forces of Terexen, the raging demon lord. That is, until one of his comrades kicked him out. Now Red leads a normal and slow life at Zoltan. It is a town located near the Wall of the World's End, a vast, unexplored mountain range. This out-of-reach place with no strategic value is a place for travelers, hermits, or fugitives. Red specializes in gathering herbs and hopes to open his own medicine shop one day with the funds he receives from selling the herbs from Adventurers Guild. Red narrates that each class has its own skill, and because of that, he was abandoned by his own party. Flashback shows Ares Esroa challenging Gideon Red's former name to fight him, but despite everything, he failed to break through his simple barrier. Ares deemed that is useless and not a true comrade. There was a battle where Rudy, who is Gideon's sister, had to protect him, giving the enemy the advantage. Now that Rudy and other party members have leveled up, he is truly no longer needed. Since he will continue to be a burden, Ares needs him to quit. However, Ares realizes that will stain their reputation, so he would prefer the story of being killed by the demons instead. After he was banished, he changed his name and is enjoying his slow life. As Red returns from another herb gathering, a group of heroes led by Albert needs him to guide them through the mountains as they want to hunt down an owlbear. Red refuses since he prefers the slow life, and does not want to risk his life, despite the fact that this will guarantee some rank promotion. That evening, Gauntz knocks on his door because Tanta has some deadly disease. Even the doctor, Newman Winters, can't do much if he doesn't have the right herbs. With all the begging, Red has to go. The danger is that if he is seen crossing the wall, he will get exiled from the Adventurers Guild, something he doesn't want. Red will do it as a friend and not an adventurer. Just don't tell the guild. As Red makes haste, he realizes a part of the forest is on fire. Albert's party set it on fire to hunt the owlbear, and this is the place where blood needles medicine are grown. After picking a few, the owlbear shows up, and Red defeats it with his sword, and they think it was Albert's party that slays it. Tanta's life is saved, and with Gauntz insisting he wants to repay. After 4 months, as Rit the hero goes to submit her reward claim, she learns from the receptionist, Megria, that they are having a party to celebrate Red's opening of his medicine shop. Rick gets interested in knowing more about Red. Gauntz, as the best carpenter, helped construct the shop for free, although Red pays for the material, but this saves him a great deal. Red has everyone drink a toast to help his dream come true. Red wants to take it easy and enjoy himself, so he hopes they can come to his place to talk and drink. As Red waits for customers, a familiar person enters his drugstore. It's Rit. She is a princess of Loggervia, and there are some family problems regarding the succession, so she took some time off. When Rit hears what happened to him, she becomes mad, but Red accepts himself as a liability to the party, and they talk about the first time they met. In Loggervia, where Rudy's party was requested for help, in a bar, a guy tried to hit Rit but was beaten up. Rit then threw some sort of warning to the party that Loggervia doesn't need a hero to crush the Demon Lord's army. Then there was one time Gideon and Rit talked about working together to fight the Demon Lord, but Rit remains stubborn because it has been a tradition for them to fight alone, and they've always come out on top. Then there is this war strategy meeting in which Rit's master accepts Rit's plan to become the decoy while Rudy's party stays back to defend the castle. The whole thing backfired since her master was actually a demon in disguise, and there were lots of casualties. Luckily, Gideon came to her aid, and they held out long enough before Rudy came to slice the demons. In the aftermath, Rit felt a bit depressed and blamed herself, but Gideon was by her side, talking to her and giving her some hope and encouragement. This includes the fact that Loggervia will have to fight to claim victory with their own hands to leave a lasting legacy. Because even if the Demon Lord is gone, this bitter memory will be a thorn in the kingdom's side. With that, Rit got her motivation back and routed the Demon Lord's army. Now Rit wants to work in Red's place. Red had no money to pay her, but who will look after his shop while he is out looking for herbs? Red then shows her a couple of original potions he has, but Rit laughs at it since he doesn't know about economics, something that will send the price of potions crashing. Eventually, Red accepts her offer to work here, even if it's not full-time. Whenever she has free time is also fine. But when Rit talks about adding rooms and buying stuff, Rit wants to move in and stay with him. Red wakes up with Rit in bed with him. Although nothing happened, when they have breakfast, they talk about Rit taking a lower salary, so Red is under the impression that is why Rit is living with him, so Red doesn't have to worry about her salary. Rit then goes to buy a bed of her own, so they go to Storm Thunder, who sells beds, but Rit says that she's living now with Red, which gives Storm Thunder the wrong idea about them. After that, Rit and Red talk about blessings and how different gods give different types of blessings to different castes in society. Also, one's success depends on whether or not they can level up their blessing, and by that means taking another life. The duo chases away the local bully, Ademi, who is picking a fight with Tanta and his friend, Al. After patching them up, they talk about Ademi's blessing as a brawler, and the problem is that he is naturally born with that talent and has already achieved high affinity. At this rate, it might lead him down a dark path. The kids are hopeless about receiving their own blessing, but Rit says a few encouraging words to calm them down. Red and Rick go to talk about negotiating some medicine remedy, but it looks like they've come at a bad time. Some new remedy was mass-produced outside town after it was approved. After flooding the market, it turned out it was targeted for illicit use from the start. As a result, their reputation suffered. So the duo goes back and tries to make their own hit remedy. Then it hit Red about an apothecary that serves food. Red has good baking skills too. Red produces medicine in the form of cookies, which can help prevent some illnesses and improve your health. They give free samples, and in no time, everyone swarms the shop, and it becomes a sellout item. Meanwhile, Dane and LeBeau is sick of Ares' strategy of not being able to find the Demon Lord's weapons, and they have to keep going back to resupply. It's not yielding any results. Danon believes things were better when Gideon was around and wants to go look for him. Danon accuses Ares of making the mistake of banishing Gideon from the party. Rudy then gives her permission for him to go look for her brother. Danon talks to Theodora DeFilo about the possibility that Ares killed Gideon because he might have gotten in his way. They suspected so since a tearful Yarandrala slapped Ares. Despite having only common fighting skills, Gideon was good with them as well as a strategist. They still believe Gideon is alive, seeing as Ares is not likely to kill one whose skill is highly revered by them. Life at Red and Rit's apothecary shop goes on with the occasional surprise group of adventurers shocked at seeing Rit, Zoltan's most formidable adventurer, in Red's shop helping with the business and living with him. Just then, Rit had a sudden craving for meat, so she went to town to buy some. Just then, Albert walked into the shop, cursing his life choices and demanding answers from Red about who killed the owlbear. Red denies any involvement with what happened to the owlbear, provoking Albert to attack him, but is stopped by Rit's timely arrival. Rit is so angry she could kill Albert, who is shocked at the sight of Rit in Red's shop. As well as Red's quickness, Red came near them in a split second with a bottle of meat in her hand. Later, as they visited Zeph's sauna, they noticed a real lack of customers. It is because of new competition, a bigger, fancier sauna built by the nobles. Now scolded Zeph for his defeatist attitude, stating that they would keep coming back to his sauna. Later in Red's house, as Rit, Red, Now, and Tanta met over tea, Red had the idea of using a potpourri sack in the sauna itself. The idea was a success, and earned the place a lot of customers. Later that afternoon, Red revealed the reason for her getting a bottle of meat that day. It reminded her of an old tradition in Lagerville about a married couple traditionally taking time off and drinking meat together. Meanwhile, Theodora asks Tis if she thinks joining the party was a mistake, as the hero's party is failing after failing, causing quarrels among the party members and causing it to fall apart. Something that, according to Theodora, did not exist when Gideon, who is Red, was alive. The Adventurers Guild pays a visit to the apothecary shop to convince Rit to go back into adventuring again. But they'll have to wait until the store opens. Red tells Rit about it. As Rit goes to talk to them, a shady guy from the Thieves Guild approaches Red. He is willing to trade this elven coin if he severs ties with Rit. Red rejects this because Rit is priceless to him. He leaves, but will leave the door open should he change his mind. Rit rejects the Adventurers Guild offer, and she is more than happy to have a lifetime of employment at Red's shop. Red gives Rit a bracelet. Rit warns she might get the wrong idea about this, even if he claims this is her payment for that lifetime employment. Dyer reports to the head of the Thieves Guild that the Adventurers Guild is desperate to get Rit back to adventuring. However, the Thieves Guild knows they don't want to get on Rit's bad side and will stay out of her way. If Dyer thinks he can solve the issue himself, be my guest. Rit further remembers her time with Red when they were fighting against the advancing Demon Lord's army that had surrounded them from all sides. The plan was to head to neighboring Sunland for reinforcements, but to do that, they had to go through some woods that the Demon Lord doesn't even dare to enter. Hence, Red got Yarandrala since she is able to communicate with plants. Rit felt jealous because of another woman. But during their break in the woods, Yarandrala personally assures Rit that she does not love Gideon because she cannot carry his burden. This is what everyone takes for granted about him. Because he is selfless, she wants him to live his own life with the one he loves. She believes Rit is suitable to support him since she truly loves him. When they reach the edge of the woods, the Demon Lord's army is seen waiting. Ares curses his luck, as he was sold out by those mercenaries. Hence, Rudy made a very reckless move to barge through. It was risky, but everyone got through. Rit saw how Rudy hugged Red and promised no more such recklessness. Rit then left the party to rebuild Lagervia, felt she shouldn't come in between the siblings, and continued to adventure alone. That is, until she stumbled upon him here in Zoltan. Later, Dyer confronts Rit and tries to persuade her to return to Lagervia, as the succession issue is almost settled. Rit, of course, rejects him, as she doesn't care if she abandons her status and all. As long as she is happy with Red, nothing else matters. Meanwhile, Rudy laments that Gideon isn't here. A flashback shows Ares telling her he left the party to scout the Demon Lord's army. Ares lied and said that Red insisted on leaving. Rudy felt something amiss because it is not Gideon himself who is telling her this. With Ares making up excuses, Rudy becomes mad and smashes a hole right through him. Then she heals him up and suppresses her emotions. She'll continue the journey, but she feels there is a hole where her brother was. While Red was on a medicine delivery to Dr. Newman's clinic, Red and Newman heard some guy screaming. They carry him back to the latter's clinic to administer some first aid. His condition is stable after that, so Newman believes this is the new approved medicine or drug that has been going around. And this guy was experiencing an overdose. Red goes back before Rit gets mad because she's hungry. Red explains what happened, but he won't pursue the case because it's not their job to find the culprits. For now, it's time to relax, and Red invites Rit to go barbecue and swim. We see Rit in her bikini, and Red can't take his eyes off her. After a few flirting moments, Rit even kissed him and hoped to get closer to him. Meanwhile, Rudy's team has arrived at the place believed to house the Demon Lord's weapon. While resting, Rudy talks to Tess and explains why she doesn't sleep or even eat. Some environmental resistance means Rit will never feel refreshed or uncomfortable. She is looking like a zombie, and because she deems herself the hero, she cannot go after her brother. When a bloodied person crashes into Red's store, Rit goes to see what's happening, and it looks like one of Albert's men is killing the rest. Rit fights them, but ultimately they are all killed off by Albert himself. Red believed the drug caused them to act so, but the newspaper doesn't seem to reveal much. Rhea visits Red, who is one of Albert's party members. She apologizes for the rampage, but is also worried that Albert might leave his party. Because of his blessing as a champion, he cannot understand those with lower blessings than him. Albert might seek a higher challenge and leave Zoltan, but Red assures him that he won't just leave like that, as the guild can't do without him. A guy named Buey finds Dana, and it looks like he is also looking for Red. He believes two heads are better than one to find him. A storm passes by as Red remembers a similar time with Rudy when they were young. Red faked being scared so as to get Rudy to hold his hand. He did it for no reason except to want to do so. This is so that if she ever just feels like it for no reason. However, the only thing he can't promise is to be with her forever. Because Red wants to train and become stronger as a knight so he can go adventuring with her someday. Ademi attacked Al's family. Although not fatal, he vanished afterwards. The parents are recovering at the mansion of Big Hawk, boss of the Thieves Guild, while Al is left in the care of Red and Rit. Al tries to learn swordsmanship from Rit, but she has doubts. Red believes in her because she is Rit. Soon, Al comes with bad news as the guards suddenly take Tanta away and won't let his parents see him. Red goes to Adventurers Guild to obtain approval to see Moan, captain of the guards. Moan says he brought him in for questioning. It seems there are rumors that Ademi has been killed in Southmarsh, and it also cost the life of one of his men. Also, some of his guards doubt Ademi was in Al's house, as many are mixing up the victims with the perpetrators. But since Tanta is fine and explains that Ademi apologized to him, Tanta is sure the bully who wants to become a guard will not attack those he is supposed to protect. Later, Moan needs a favor from Red, but Red asks him if Ademi has shown signs of the drug. There is no evidence to suggest that, but it is possible the drug can give users another blessing. Al then takes sword lessons from Red, who also gives him some life advice. It is then that Al reveals that some guy from the Thieves Guild came by earlier today to give him a special sword. But he is in a dilemma about whether he could become a sword master. Red tells him to ask his sword if it wants to cut foes or protect those dear to him. Meanwhile, Rit snuffs out a thief, but he self-destructs. He has other comrades, but the weird goo over her makes her not react in time. Luckily, she is saved by Danon. He has orders to take Gideon back, but if he has found a place to call home, he will not force it. Uncovering the perpetrators to be intermediate demons, it looks like Danon wants to exchange information with Rit to solve this. But don't tell Red he is here. When Rit goes home, she throws herself at Red, and a lot of close skinship occurs. Rit is worried they can't stay like this forever, but Red believes they can. After taking Al to get his own sword, Red sees a protest being organized. It is believed that Big Hawk is paying people to gather, and with the guards having their hands full to quell the protests, they don't have time to investigate the attacks. Meanwhile, Rudy's party fights a gargantuan demon deep within the ruins. Rudy is baffled about the previous demon lord and Terexen being in the same faction. Ares is a liability, and he is regretting that Gideon isn't here, which makes it harder for him to cast spells. Even Rudy warns him to protect himself because she won't be doing it for him. After defeating the demon, Tis has found the weapon and it's a huge airship. When Rid is busy fighting Big Hawk's men, who are out to get Al, it turns out this was just a decoy, as some guards are in cohorts with the Thieves Guild to get Al left alone at home. He is brought to Big Hawk, who claims he has been peddling that drug around so that people can have another blessing than the one they already have that they are unsatisfied with. Now he plans to be the king of Zoltan and has laid the groundwork. All he needs is a spark, and that spark is Al. So Big Hawk rallies the people as he gives Al a sword to kill a demi. Just when it looks like Al is about to do it, he cuts off a demi's ropes instead. His sword does not intend to kill. In that case, Big Hawk gives a demi a weapon to finish off Al. But that won't do, as Red has been masquerading as one of his guards to stop this farce and then running off with the kids. Red is in cohorts with Buey, who then takes over handling the kids while Red faces off with Albert. We learn that this Big Hawk isn't the guy we know. A demon took over his body via contract. Now he wants to be king of Zoltan himself, but with the people being so lazy and complacent, his plans are stalled, and he needs someone with intense will. And that person is Albert. Albert is sick of this place and doesn't want to die here without achieving anything. Albert claims he has forged a contract with a demon but won't do evil things. Even more so, his dream is to become a hero and slay the Demon King. Albert wants Red to join him, and they can be heroes. Red refuses. He is just an apothecary. Desperate, Albert wants to at least defeat him to give meaning to his life, but Red cuts off his hand. Red laments that he had high hopes of Albert becoming the hero since he was the one who wanted it so badly. Because of that, Albert suffered for it. Al and Ademi return to explain to the people that they forgive each other and that the one who attacked Al's family was a demon who took Ademi's form. Without a reason to fight, the people disband. Meanwhile, Buey confronts Big Hawk. He knows his real name, Belial. With that, he realizes Buey is just a front for Shisenden, who warns him the drug could actually unleash mankind's true power. And that is not what the Almighty wants. Belial rescinds his contract with Big Hawk and escapes. He tries to break Albert free and force him to make a contract with him. Albert doesn't care at this point, but with Belial being pushy, he allows him to do as he wishes. Red and Rit see off Al, who will be away on his first adventure with his party members. Ares and Theodora have been abandoned by Rudy. They are dumped from the airship, but Theodora is not worried. The hero will somehow manage, but she is stumped as to why Rudy left behind her hero's badge. A flashback shows Rudy talking to a demon who claims his continent doesn't want to go to war because they too are fighting against their demon lord and worship the same god as humans. He then gave her some devil's blessing, which will transfer some blessing to help her level up, although the downfall is that it weakens her original blessing. Rudy believes she is immune to all poison and takes it immediately. The demon is in shock because if the curse doesn't manifest, the devil's blessing may be lost. Now Rudy plans to head to Zoltan and lie low as a commoner. She wants Tis to help her out. Tis is panicking inside, although her poker face is perfect. Rudy and Tis arrive at the edge of Zoltan and go under aliases. Some dumb knight named Otto is trying to charge a toll for crossing a bridge but gets easily tossed away by Rudy. Red and Tis eat at the same stall together. It seems both know the other is concealing weapons and is a pro, hence sizing up what they possibly are. So when Tis returns and reports a dangerous man in Zoltan, she asks if they need to be friends or foes with him. Rudy strikes out the idea of working with him because they need to break out an alchemist from prison. She doesn't want him to become an outlaw like them. A fairy dragon, Kurukuru, brings Red and Rit to see an Undine who is having an illness. But after Red diagnoses her, it seems she has been cursed, and this is causing some spiritual damage. Red gives him some medication to stop the draining. They then wonder if the cold-like illness spreading in Zoltan could be that curse because the symptoms are similar. Rudy breaks into prison to free Godwin. She wants him to make the devil's blessing. He agrees since he is afraid of that stare of hers. Rudy could easily heal him, but she doesn't want to expose her identity. Hence, Tis heard of a local apothecary who could do the job. And when they go to see the apothecary shop, Rudy and Red see each other for the first time. Rudy then discards her poker face and becomes a happy girl to jump into Red's arms. Tis introduces herself as Red's replacement after he leaves the hero's party. From Rudy's explanation, Red knows Ares didn't keep his promise. Red tells the truth as Rudy realizes everything is Ares' fault. She is willing to kick him out to let Red rejoin. This has made Red realize that Rudy's adventures did not go smoothly. Because Red wants to live in this town, Rudy will move here. Just in time, Rit returns. Rudy continues by explaining that she is looking for Red because they need him to defeat the demon lord. Rudy also needs someone who knows how to defeat the demon lord, but she has already found that person. Rudy returns to her inn for now, as Red will always welcome her here. After Rudy leaves, she feels pain but suppresses it with the devil's blessing. Red and Rit talk about Rudy. The latter thinks he should go with her if she needs him, but Red believes Rudy is still a 17-year-old girl. They need time to think about this. Godwin is not happy that they are going to stay longer in Zoltan. He fears he will be sent back to prison if he is discovered, and when that happens, he cannot make the devil's blessing for them. As Rudy and Tis talk about things, Tis gets scared and draws her knife, thinking Rudy got upset with something she said. But Tis soon realizes that her lack of communication skills caused them to act so. They calm down and start becoming friends, starting with petting Tiss's pet spider. Rudy helps out with Red's shop, but her fearsome aura has customers running away. Red then takes Rudy around town. The first stop is the sauna. While some may be taken back by her aura, they soon brush it off and treat her normally. Meanwhile, Ares and Theodora have Albert help them track down the hero. Albert is still confused about why someone blessed as a hero won't live up to his title. So Theodora talks about free will. Even if that is what God has given them, why did he also give them free will? The ladies take a bath as Rudy notes that her brother was always amazing. Rudy was weak as a child, even when she was bestowed the hero's blessing. Flashback: Rudy was trying to find a missing child and had to fight an owlbear. As the hero, she risked her life to save the girl. She thought dying was the better option since surviving means more pain for the sake of others, and those who whisper behind her back will still ask her for help when in trouble. However, not seeing her brother again was the problem. Luckily, Red came by to save the day. Rudy cannot feel pain or comfort nowadays, and everything is just bland. She only feels so because she remembers her time with her brother. This has made Tis realize that Rudy is forced to cling to her past, where she had the most feeling. She only had Red. Rudy further explains that when she met Red at that time, she was envious of her because she was free to do and feel whatever she wished. She didn't want to be a hero. She just wanted to be like Red. Tis thought only Red could save Rudy, but that line of thought is wrong, because there are others like them who may be able to save the hero too. Tis tells Red and Rit what happened to Rudy. Although the devil's blessing might not have an effect on her, it just weakens her blessing, and she might get addicted to it. Tis worries that Red will be mad, but it is not his place to judge. While looking for items that Godwin needs, Red stumbles into Dana. He realizes how important Red is since he left and needs him back. Too bad Red has decided to settle down here. Red also tells him that Rudy is here and they need to go find her. Confusingly, Danon is also seen confronting Ares and telling him about Red settling down here with Red. Thinking Rudy is trying to win Red back, Danon takes him to Red's shop and Ares starts trashing the place. Red and Danon talk about the latter losing his right hand. Apparently, it is the work of Shisenden. But Red is stumped since Rudy killed him at Lagervia. Then they see Ares and Dana flying overhead to the elven ruins. Red makes haste to meet up with Rit and Tis. Red tells them he met Danon, and this makes Rit reveal she met Danon earlier, but did not say so as not to ruin his peaceful life. But when she notes nothing different about Danon, Red reveals his lost right hand. This could mean that Rit may have met an imposter who could be Shisenden, who took Danon's form after eating his hand. Red is willing to fight because it is no use if they don't and everyone ends up miserable. Red heads into the ruins first and finds Godwin. Since he won't call out to Rudy, he forces him to scream, and this has Rudy running all the way here. Red tells her what he has been told. Red has been trying to find a way to suppress her blessing. Red made one, but it might become toxic. Rudy views herself as the worst since she did a lot of bad things, like abandoning her comrades and breaking Godwin out of prison. Red gives his approval because Rudy is my little sister. Reuniting with the rest, they talk about the devil's blessing, which requires the hearts of demons. But if it has no effect on Rudy, how does her blessing get suppressed? Apparently, a nameless blessing with no skill or anything just appears. It does nothing and sits there within her. With Godwin's advice, if a blessing cannot manifest, then it won't make her have murder impulses. Suddenly, they are attacked by monster eyeballs. This leads them to Mad Ares, who wants Rudy to return adventuring with him. Together, we shall defeat the demon lord. Rudy is not interested, but Ares thinks she is joking. When Red tries to intervene, he slams him away. For that, Rudy stabs him. Rudy misses his vitals and tells him to heal himself. Finally, a warning: if he tries to hurt her brother again, she'll kill him. After they leave, Buie appears before Ares and wants to form a party together. He convinces him that the relic weapon of the first hero is in these ruins, and if he finds it and gives it to Rudy, maybe she'll change her mind. With that, Ares is convinced. Ares remembers the time he first saw Rudy, and was amazed by her blessing. Ares thought God gave him a role to assist her, and hence his life had purpose. Rudy and Red return to the rest and tell them about Ares. They fear Ares might be manipulated by Shisenda. Danon barges in to fight Bui, who then transforms into Shisenda. He takes a beating and pleads with Ares to help him. Ares attacks Danon, and this allows Shisenda to finish him off. Then they head into the room where the weapon is, but Ares is shocked to see many replicas of it. Shouldn't there only be one? But the one the hero is wielding is just a replica. Those here are the true ones, the sacred avengers. Of course, giving her the sword isn't the only condition, as she must be wrested from what sustains her desire to not become a hero. After that, Shisenda and Ares go to fight the hero's party. Shockingly, Rudy is able to break the sacred avengers, and this is proof that her power exceeds that of the former hero. Another shock comes as Theodora barges in to fight Rudy because she claims Rudy must play her role, or countless lives will die. Rudy doesn't see why she needs to sacrifice herself for others she doesn't know. Theodora claims that Rit is living proof of why the hero is needed. But Rit rubbishes that. Lagervia stands, not because of the hero or the blessings. It is because of their individual personalities. If all this is part of God's will, Rit will show God that he is wrong. Shisenda agrees because those who only strive to be heroes are worthy of that name and cannot simply exist by its title. Theodora is slain by Rudy, but in that distraction, Ares sends Red and Rit plunging down the shaft. But Danon uses his martial arts to bring back Rit and Red and float them back up. Albert came to heal him with a potion. Ares is bullying Tis, her spider, and Godwin when Red returns. Too bad the spider's web holds him back, allowing Red to cut his hands. Still thinking Ares is supposed to be wise and powerful, while Rudy uses all her rage to kill off Shisenda. But in death, Shisenda knows he has set his plans in motion, as Rudy has touched the sacred avenger, and this will return her to her original blessing. So when Rudy returns, she attacks Red, but Tis takes the strike. Tis is pleading with Rudy not to do this, not to the man she loves dearly. Red is forced to fight Rudy, but after he manages to fling her sword away, Rudy regains her senses and starts to regret what she has done. As Rit's healing won't work on Tis, Rudy does hers. However, her blessing could not activate when she needed it the most. Luckily, Theodora heals Tis. Theodora then talks about Rudy never needed anyone in her party anyway since, as the hero, she could not feel tiredness or pain. Then Theodora realized that being a hero is indeed lonely. Despite that, she strived to ensure she fulfilled her role. Though Rudy has never wished to be a hero, Theodora is prepared for God to strike her for betraying the hero. Albert then emotionally pleads to spare her life because she fought for what she believed was right. Rudy apologizes for striking Theodora, and claims Theodora should be the real hero since she always fought for the sake of the world. A hero isn't about being strong, but gives others the strength to fight. Now we see the gang returning to normal. Rudy now has normal feelings because her new blessing allows her to dominate and control other blessings. Her plan now is to buy farmland to cultivate herbs for Red. Then the ex-comrades attend Ares' funeral. Then they talk about the strange phenomenon of Shisenda being able to wield holy swords that are supposed to slay the demon lord. They talk about the replicas, and since it is missing one, something about God changed the meaning of hero. Now it's time for some quality Red and Rit time. They fixed up their house well after Ares did some trashing to it, and they keep mentioning the important bed. Rit is worried Red might leave because this is someplace they always return to. Red assures her that he needs her and wants to be with her forever. Thank you for watching till the end, and please don't forget to subscribe.